Three, two, one. What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel. Today, y'all, I have to let you know that there are too many reasons, too many things happening for you not to be praying and fasting. For us all not to be praying and fasting. Too much is happening in the world. Too much is happening in your life. Too much is happening in your mind. Too much is happening in society, in the streets. Too much is happening for you not to be prayed and fasted up. Too much is happening. You don't know what life will bring. You don't know what life has in store. You don't know what you will come against, what you will come up against 5 years from now, 2 years from now, next month, tomorrow. You do not know. Do you know that scriptures tell us that our lives are of a vapor? Our lives are here today and gone tomorrow. And you know that to be true. Our lives, it says in scripture, are like the grass that wither away. Just as easy as it is for a grass to wither up, to dry up, to shrivel up, and no longer have life, that is our lives. That's why Jesus tells us to lay down our lives for his sake. We don't know. I don't care how much we try to control our lives, we try to manifest, and we try to have these vision boards for what we expect and what we think will happen, when we don't even know if we'll be here tomorrow. We don't know what will happen. And I am here to tell you that too much is going on in your family's lives. Too much is happening for you not to be praying and fasting. Praying and fasting keeps you prepared for what's to come. It keeps you prepared for what's to come in 5 minutes. You don't know. I mean, and it's not all bad either. You don't know who you'll encounter. You don't know what opportunities, you may need or you will come across in the future. But you want to be ready, and you want to be disciplined, and you want to be surrendered enough to the Lord that your discernment for the season is on point. And that's what fasting does. It helps us to discern the season. It helps us to know what posture we are to take when anything comes, when anybody comes in our paths, right? I don't know. You may need to conduct some deliverance on somebody. I remember back in 2016, I think, 2017, I had prayed and fasted for 3 days. I just fasted. I mean, it wasn't because I was looking to ask God for anything. I wasn't seeking anything just besides him. And I'm just going to pray and fast. Also, there was a college Christian conference coming up. And so I was like, I'm going to prepare for this fast. I'm just going to, prepare for this conference. Whatever's going to happen will happen. Going in with no expectations. Y'all, long story short, do you know I unknowingly casted out a demon of somebody that was on the trip? Unknowingly. I know this is true because how everything went down. But I also know this to be true because even in scriptures, when the disciples were trying to cast out a demon and they could not do it. They couldn't do it. And Jesus came and told them, they asked Jesus, why is it that we couldn't cast this demon out? Jesus said that this kind of battle or this kind of whatever situation must come out and must be dealt with by prayer and by fasting. Now, the NIV version took out the fasting piece. You may or may not know that. But in the KJV, NKJV, and some other translations, it states that there are some things, these kinds of strongholds can only come out, can only be moved through prayer and fasting. So anyway, yeah, so I casted out a demon and I was like, I've never did that. I've heard of it, but I never, but it makes sense because I had just fasted like 2 days before for 3 days. And also while at the conference, they offered me to speak on stage in front of maybe like 300 to 400 college students. I was not looking for that. I wasn't asking for it. I wasn't expecting it. It came my way, right? So the opportunity, you don't know what will come in your path, but you want to stay ready. Almost like, let me see here. Like Jesus. So for example, let's go to Matthew 26. When he was, Matthew 4, when he was, fasting. So it says Matthew 4, chapter 4, verse 1. It says, then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And when he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, afterwards he was hungry. So you can see here, we're getting the tail end of his fast, right? We're not getting the full scope of what occurred while he was fasting. So on the 28th day of his fast, on the 15th day, on the 31st day, we don't know. We can assume, this is him spending time with the Father and, surrendering his life at this point, which is this the whole thing. But we're getting the tail end of that. But for context, just before, in the 3rd chapter, he was baptized by John the Baptist. He even said, permit it to be so now, for thus it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness. So the Lord is like, Jesus said, this is the time. This is the time. We got to do this now because the time has come. And the time had also come for him to pray and to fast. Because while he knew the end goal was to lay his life down as a sacrifice for our sins, right? That's the end goal. But he also, in his flesh, in his human nature, in his God nature, he knew all things still. But in the human nature, he still didn't know exactly every single thing that would happen. This is my opinion. Like I said, in his God nature, he's omniscient, omnipotent, right? He's all powerful, all knowing. But in the human nature of Jesus, I believe there are just some things that just came his way that he didn't know per se would happen exactly. But in his human nature, guess what? He was ready because he had just prayed and he had just fasted. So I say that to say, too much is happening. Too much is going to happen. Too much is happening in your family's lives. Too much is happening in the lives of strangers around you, simple strangers in the store. Too much is going on. Children are being trafficked, murdered, exploited, war. So much is happening in the world. Okay, that's just to name a few. But even like the 10 virgins. Let's go to the 10 virgins in Matthew 25. The parable of the 10 virgins. So long story short, because I don't want this video to be too long. There's 10 virgins, 5 wise and 5 foolish. As they were preparing for the bridegroom's return, whenever that would be, the 5 foolish virgins, they all went out, but 5 of them did not take any oil with them for their lamps. Whereas the 5 wise virgins took oil with them. So as they're going on along their way, they fall into a slumber, into a sleep, whatever that means in the scriptures, right? But the point is, they fell into a slumber and the bridegroom came unexpectedly. As the bridegroom came, the 5 virgins who were foolish and did not bring their oil for their lamps were asking for the oil of the 5 wise virgins. And the 5 wise virgins was like, you can't have any of my oil because I only bought enough for myself. But for you, how about you go back into the town and ask them and buy some more oil? But by the time they had left to buy more oil and to come back, the bridegroom had already showed up and invited the 5 wise virgins who were ready with their lamps oiled, and invited them in and shut the door. Locked. It's done for. And so those foolish virgins came back and were like, hey, Lord, let us in. And he said, I didn't know you. I don't know you. It says it in the scriptures. It literally says, afterward, the other virgins came also, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, assuredly, I say to you, I do not know you. And he says, watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming. You don't know, honey. Therefore, he's telling you to stay ready. Stay with the oil ready for your lamp. Not only just for his return, but for what is to come in your future. You don't know what's going to happen in 6 months of your life. You don't know what's going to happen in 6 years. You don't know. But when you're prayed and fasted, you're able to discern the seasons. That way you can prepare further for what you need to be doing. Even when Jesus went into the Garden of Gethsemane, he told his disciples to stay here while I go pray. And as you stay here, I need you to watch and to pray. And he came back out of his prayer and found his disciples asleep in a slumber like those virgins. And he told them, you can't even sit here for an hour to watch and pray while I pray. So that's to say that Jesus wants you to keep watch and to pray. He even tells us to stay alert and to be of a sober mind. For our enemy, the devil, prowls around like a lion looking for someone to devour. He's looking for someone who's never fasted. He's looking. And so, I don't know. I just feel like I'm here to let you know that too much is happening for you not to be praying and fasting. You have to be on guard. And when you fast, it by default, you're ready. Just like I was not ready when I casted that demon out, but my prayer and fasting made me ready. You may not be ready, but the prayer and fasting makes you ready for anything. That is a part of your armor of God. So stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. When you pray and when you fast, that is you staying ready so you don't have to get ready because you're already ready. Ready with your oil. Ready because you've been watching and you've been praying. Ready because you've already discerned the season. So I hope that was encouraging for you. I hope this encourages you and pushes you to begin your prayer and fasting journey more, because too much is going on. If not in your life, someone else's life around you, in your own family, all hell is breaking loose, and you may or may not know, but at least you stay ready. Also, really quick, back to the 10 virgins, and I'm done with this video. How is it that the 5 foolish virgins had to ask for someone else's oil? It's almost like you being, fasted up, you being ready, you having your armor on, you're ready. You're filled up with the Lord. You're filled up with his word. And someone else comes along and says, let me borrow some of your time that you spent with the Lord. You can't borrow my time, honey. You cannot borrow the time that I spent with the Lord. Now, however, I can help you, as in I can help pray for you to have your own time. I can give you some of my time in offering encouragement to you, but you cannot have the time I spent with the Lord. You need your own. And those 10 virgins said, you cannot have my oil because this is my oil. This is time I spent with Jesus. You need your own time because you will be accounted for. Or, yeah, something like that. The time you spent with Jesus or the time you have not spent will be accounted for. Yeah, I know what I'm trying to say. But so get your own oil. Get your own time of praying and of fasting so that you don't have to borrow from somebody else's. You don't have to borrow. You can have your own. So that's all, y'all. Stay ready so y'all ain't gotta get ready. That's it. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Bye.